So what happens when information is just missing? In any data set you're ever going to look at, you're going to find gaps. Today, we're going to demystify the single most common and honestly the most misunderstood way that databases handle the unknown, the null value.
Just think about the last time you filled out a form online. I bet you probably skipped an optional field, right? Maybe a phone number or something. So what does the database actually save in that spot? It's not the number 0, and it's not just a blank space. It's missing. And this is the exact problem that databases were designed to solve.
And that solution has a special name, null. The easiest way to think about null is as a placeholder, kind of like a sticky note that a database uses to say, hey, I have no idea what the data is for this field. It's totally unknown, maybe it's unavailable, or it just doesn't apply here. Now, this is probably the biggest hurdle for anyone starting out, so let's be super clear. Null is not the number 0. 0 is a very specific known value. And it's not an empty piece of text because an empty string is also a known value. It just happens to be empty. No, null is its own thing entirely, a unique state that means completely unknown. Let's look at a really simple example to make this click. Here, we've got a table of students. For Rahul, we have his phone number, no problem. But for Priya, we just don't have that information. So the database doesn't store 0 or a blank space. It stores null to officially mark that phone number as missing and unknown. Okay, so we get what null is, but how do we actually find these missing pieces of data when we're working with a real database? Well, that's what this first section is all about. All right, let's go back to our student table. The task is pretty simple. Find all the students who are missing a phone number. So what's your first instinct? How would you even start to write that query? Now, your first gut reaction might be to use an equal sign, right? You'd think, where phone equals null. And this is the single biggest mistake people make, it just will not work. The correct way, and really the only way, is to use the special phrase is null. You have to ask the database if the value is in the state of null, not if it equals null. And as you can probably guess, if you want to find everyone who does have a phone number, the records where the data is actually there, you just flip it. You use the phrase is not null. That'll give you all the rows that are complete for that particular column. So we know how to find nulls, but that brings up a really good question. Why doesn't the equal sign work? I mean, it feels like it should. To really get that, we need to learn about null's one simple golden rule. This is it. This is the single most important idea you need to grasp about null. Anytime you try to compare something, and I mean anything, to null using operators like equals or greater than or less than, the answer isn't true and it isn't false. The answer is always unknown. And here's the simple logic behind that rule. Just think of null as meaning, I don't know. So if I ask you, is the I don't know value in this box equal to the number 5? You can't say yes or no. The only honest answer is, I don't know. But here's the real mindsbender. What if I ask if one I don't know is equal to another I don't know? Well, you still can't be sure. They could be two totally different unknown things. The answer is always unknown. And that's exactly why equals null just doesn't work. Okay, here's a quick pro tip that builds right on this idea. When you use functions that do math on a column, like count, they're designed to only work with values they actually know. So what do? They just automatically ignore any nulls they come across. So if we go back to our little student table and run count phone, what do you think we'd get? Yep, the answer is 1. The function only counts Rahul's number because Priya's is null, and it just skips right over that unknown value. Now, all of this might seem like a pretty technical detail, but understanding null is absolutely critical. Let's take a look at why this matters so much both in our day-to-day lives and in the professional world. Think about the apps on your phone right now. If you want to find all the contacts in your address book that are missing an email, you're actually searching for nulls. If you're using a study tracker and want to see which assignments haven't been graded yet, you're looking for nulls. It's the basic way we find incomplete information pretty much everywhere. And for businesses, this is absolutely mission critical. Companies have to find customers with missing addresses or transactions that didn't go through properly, or just find holes in their data before they run a huge analysis. If you ignore or mess up how you handle nulls, you can get completely wrong results, which can literally cost millions. Data integrity really starts with handling the unknown the right way. Whew, we've covered a lot of ground, from the basic idea to the deeper logic. So let's wrap this all up with a simple little cheat sheet to help you remember the most important takeaways. So let's do a super quick recap. Remember, null just means unknown. To find it, you have to use is null. To find the things that aren't missing, you use is not null. And that golden rule, never ever use the equal sign, because comparing anything to an unknown is always unknown. All right, to put what you've just learned to the test, here is a little challenge for you. Think about it for a sec. How would you write a query to find a customer where either their email could be missing or their phone number could be missing? It's a great little puzzle to really lock in the concept. And I really want to leave you with this one final thought. This isn't just about learning syntax. It's about being accurate. Understanding and handling null correctly is one of the most fundamental skills for working with data, because what you don't know can absolutely change the entire story your data's trying to tell you.